guys. Wonderful to be here with you today to teach a Restore class. I'm Lucy and I'm here at 21st Yoga. It's a beautiful day. I'd love to talk today about the nature of transitions. So, taking off my socks here. So, for most of us, we have this very interesting kind of goal-oriented life that's really being challenged, maybe because of the season of the year, maybe because of circumstances going on in our lives or in the world. But there's a really cool collective look right now at this way of being, this very destination-oriented way of being, right? Getting to the goal, getting to the accomplishment, getting to the location or the end point. So today, what I'd like to do is just challenge that a little bit through our form of the Restore Yoga. So instead of looking to be in the pose, we'll look for the transition between one pose and the next. Or we'll look at the space between the inhale and the exhale. Or that circular time where there's just transitioning to the next posture or the next movement. So I always think this particular practice is interesting for me. It seems really obvious and easy and like it's no problem, but we don't get a whole bunch of reinforcement for this sort of thinking in life. So anyway, let's just have fun, enjoy it. For purposes of a Restore class, we are going to be mostly on the ground. We'll be entirely on the ground, actually. And we'll be on our backs for a lot of this particular practice. So what I'd love you to have around is just space enough to have your mat or wherever you are on the ground. And then if you have something around you, like a bolster, it might be a couch cushion, it might be a big pillow from off your bed. It could be anything that's softish and biggish. So we're going to be using that in a little bit. But before we get going and coming onto our backs entirely, just close your eyes if you would, please. And let's just take some moments together to land in our practice, to arrive on our seats and into our morning. So close your eyes, everybody. Just take a couple of nice, easy sighs, just allowing your body to settle for a moment. And our legs are in this cross-legged position. That's challenging for a lot of us, no matter when we come to this practice. So just knowing that we'll only be here for some breaths, a few moments. But as you close the eyes, just returning to your relationship with the breath. So let the mind's eye travel entirely to the breath. Do let the belly expand for now as you're sitting. And know that this might be a little bit odd or uncomfortable as you first come to your mat. Always it takes a few moments to transition into our practice. And for those of us who are practicing at home, It might take just a little extra time. So just developing some patience with yourself, knowing that this is a little bit of a choppy time for our attention. It does take a minute to settle in, so just breathing. And if you would please, just noticing the inhale coming in to the place where your body is full, where the inhale is complete. So that's that destination of being full of breath. And then watch the breath turn around and leave the body. So the exhalation begins. And then noticing where the exhalation is complete, where there's no more breath to exit your body, and where the inhale begins again. So just take several more long breaths like that. Paying attention to the space in between both the inhale and the exhale, and then again the exhale and the inhale. And as we're here for the next few breaths, just noticing the quality of the breath. Is that inhalation smooth, silky? Does the exhalation feel full and giving? And it might be that there's still a little choppiness to the breath, that there's a little bit of staccato flavor to the breath. Maybe a hitch or two as you inhale or exhale. That's totally normal. And just take 3 more breaths like that. At the end of this next breath, I'd like you to keep your eyes closed as much as you can. Keep your focus on the breath, and we're going to gently transition onto our backs. So as you do that, just staying in the flavor of the restorative posture as best you can. Knowing that you have time to find something for beneath the head if that feels right for you, or if you feel like you need it. Bend the knees if you would please. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground. And just simply let the arms release to the sides. So connecting the feet to the floor, feeling each of your 10 toes pressing down for a moment just to feel the floor beneath you. And continue those long, full breaths. Do gently turn the palms up so the shoulders have a little bit of ease in relaxing. And then begin to breathe a little deeper. Do let the belly expand and sort of exaggerate that extension of the belly as you inhale. And as you exhale, begin to use the muscles of the throat to hug the air and begin to start to press the low back down toward the ground as you inhale. So we're going to start some very gentle movement with the low back as we do this, the sacrum. So as you exhale, the tailbone tucks ever so gently, and we begin to feel the entire length of the low back pressing to the floor. There's a bit of a hollowing out of the belly. And then as we inhale, we're going to arch the back a little bit. The tailbone stays on the floor, but with that inhalation, you can feel that there's a little bit of space under the low back. So it's almost like you could drive a little toy car underneath the low back. As you exhale, pressing the low back down. So if you're not sure that my words are clear, you can take a peek here. And we're just inhaling, arching the back so that there's this ballooning of the belly, an opening of the chest, the lungs. And then as you exhale, the opposite occurs. There's a little bit of a hollowing out of the belly. Activating of the muscles of the belly. So just continue that. And again, allow that movement to be fairly bold. So there's this sense of really pressing down. You might feel the legs activate a little bit. And then particularly as you inhale, there's this opening of the chest, the ribs, the lungs, and then there's very much space created at the low back. So take a few more breaths like that, just paying attention to the space in between those two ends of the movement. So when you can't take in any deeper breath, when the back can't arch anymore, starting the exhalation slowly, slowly moving that. And you might feel yourself moving on your mat a little bit, that's okay. Let's take 3 more like that. Practicing being unabashed with your body. So there's really no way to do this wrong. And so just experimenting with those two sides of the movement. Let's take 1 more like that. And then releasing the pose. So let the breath come normally and naturally. Take your dedication away from that movement in the low back or the sacrum. Just relax the spine and then let the knees move side to side easily. Just taking your time here. The feet are still loosely on the floor, but there might be just a little bit of dancing of the feet left and right. Let the knees come down as far as feels right to you. You'll feel that big opening through the front of the thigh maybe as you let the knees drop toward the sides. and then come back toward the other side. And again, just noticing what's occurring in the transition, in the space between. And slowly bringing the knees back to center. Pause here just for a moment. Readjust your body as necessary on your mat. And with the hands still pointing up toward the sky or the palms open toward the ceiling, just let the head move slowly side to side. Some gentle stretching for the neck, for the shoulders. And you can feel the back flat against the ground. Just some easy movement side to side. Keeping in mind that this is the therapy for the chest, for the back, just allowing the back to be supported by the ground, the heart is open. So pausing wherever you'd like to take in that fuller breath, and just take one more visit to each side. Wonderful. Coming back toward the center. Pausing here for a moment. Draw the right knee in toward the chest. So you have this wonderful opportunity just to hug the right knee in. Straighten the left leg if that's comfortable for you. Remember that you always can have that opposite leg just in a more restful place, just with the left foot on the floor. But if it's comfortable for you, stretch it out and just hug the right knee in. Now let's rotate at the right ankle. And as you're doing that, you can stay rotating the circle in one direction, thinking about the space that occurs in the circumference of that circle that you're drawing with the ankle. Spreading the toes, and then reversing the direction of the ankle. All the while, we're taking in these very full breaths. Take one more like that. And then releasing the right leg, bringing the right foot to the floor, left knee comes in. So same thing here. We're holding on to the top of the left shin now. Maybe straightening the right leg all the way out long. So I have my hands interlaced just at the top of the shin. And now circling the left ankle. Such a simple movement, but really an important gesture of care for the feet, the ankles, the lower legs. And there's always a little more work associated with this than it would seem like there should be. And reversing the direction of the circle. Take your time. What is in in the space in the middle. Before you come around to complete a circle, before you start the next, what is in the middle ground space? Take one more big circle like that. And slowly release the hands of the left leg, bring the left foot down to the ground, and the right knee comes in once again. So from here, stretch the left leg out long. Hug the right knee in again. You're using a little bit of the strength of your arms, but be aware of not pulling so much that the chest, the shoulders are too amplified. So as you feel ready, release the arms then and begin to draw a circle with the right knee. Opening up the hip. So drawing that circle as true to something circular as possible. So a lot of times my movement starts off in this weird sort of oblong kind of shape. See if you can smooth out the circumference of that circle. Take one more big rotation like that. And then reverse the direction of the circle. And just noticing that there might be, again, a little bit of work associated with this as more than just the big muscle groups start to be recruited. So many members of that family of the hip. So take one more big circle. Stay with your breathing. And slowly coming back to the center, we're going to keep that same right knee drawn in. This time, draw the knee across the body. So moving the knee toward the left wall and just moving into whatever sort of twist feels right to you. So know that your spine might really love that. Your spine might be a little sleepy yet. So take your time as you bring the knee toward the ground. It does not have to be on the ground. And then open up the chest by reaching the right arm away from your body, stretching your right fingertips toward the right wall. And just deepening the breath. In this transition from the place where the knee was front and center to the spot where you land in the twist, there is all manner of space in between those two areas. So come back to the center once again. Come out of the twist. Come back where you were with that right knee just extended up toward the ceiling. And then as you move into the twist this time, notice the space between those 2 points. Staying fluid and calm and at ease, even as we move into the twist, which may be quite sensation-filled for us, or maybe this is something that's easy for you to do. So take several more breaths here. While you do, see if you can imagine the inhale coming down from the heavens. So no matter where you're practicing, no matter the time of day, no matter the season, there is this direct portal from the heavens up above down into your body. Seeing that inhalation make its way down from the sky, through the roof or structure where your practice is occurring, down into the room that you inhabit, and into your body. You can almost imagine that the breath comes in through the right lung, glowing, radiating, and then moves through the whole system. Take one more breath like that. And slowly coming back in toward the center, the knee comes back in. Give yourself one more little hug with the knee in like so, and then stretching the right leg all of the way out. Just pause for a moment and notice the difference between your right and left legs even now. And then the left knee comes in. Taking a moment just to hug the knee in, just as we did before. Maybe move the knee around a little bit, left and right. And then once again, let the arms relax and begin to draw a circle in any direction that you like. Draw a circle with the top of the knee. So you're just opening up that circle. See if you can feel every millimeter of space through which you're traveling. So sometimes it's easy to kind of let your attention drift. Big open circles. Noticing every bit of space along that path. And then reversing the direction as you're ready. This left side may feel a lot different than the right, so that's totally normal. And again, there may be a little bit of work associated with this that you notice. Take another couple of big circles. And as you feel ready, coming back in toward the center, gently bring the right hand over to the outer edge of that left knee, and you can easily and gently guide your knee toward the twist. So again, our devotion today is paying attention to the transitions. So noticing that as you come down. And there's this wonderful opportunity just to play with extending the left arm all the way out. Feel free to replace the head to lift it up, to give it more space. Indeed, your spine is actually growing longer. So filling up the spine with breath. Reconnecting to that vision of the inhale coming down from the heavens. And before we settle into that pose even more directly, let's come back to the center. So bring the knee back in toward the midline. Notice that this is the place where we began. And then once again, we're going to transition into the twist, just taking a little different notice. So take your time. Do let your breath be heard if that feels good to you. And now coming back to the transition that exists between the inhale and the exhale. Take a few more breaths like that. Do check in with whatever is going on with the shoulders, whatever is going on with the jaws or the face. Just making sure that the countenance is at ease, the face is at ease. And slowly coming back in toward center. Finding the low back once again. And just extending both legs out for a moment. Taking a few breaths, checking in with the upper back, with the shoulders. And just for a moment here, moving the chin toward the chest just the tiniest bit. So we're retracting the chin. We're moving the chin toward the ground, toward the chest and toward the ground. Feel the length in the spine as you do that. And just take a few breaths. Wonderful. Slowly release the position of the head and then bring the soles of the feet back to the ground and just move the knees from side to side once again. From here, drawing the knees toward center, and then simply lifting both knees so that both knees come in and toward the chest. You can hold on with the hands for a moment. Kiss the ankles together, kiss the toes together. The knees are touching easily. And from here, bring to your mind the figure of an infinity sign or a figure 8, a racetrack. I sometimes remember those car racetracks. So we're going to start to move the knees together in the form of that figure 8. So just know that the figure 8 can either be kind of long like so, or vertically running this direction in the body, or it can be across the body. So whatever way feels good to you and feels meaningful. So we're staying in one direction for right now. And here we have this wonderful opportunity to smooth out all of the transitions that are occurring with the breath, with movement. And so continuing to travel that figure 8. And then pausing where you are, reverse the direction of that figure 8. And sometimes it takes a second just to get your head around this. Totally normal. So there is a little bit of work associated with this in the low belly, in the back. Do see if you can keep the shoulders relaxed. And just take another couple of big passes around those loops in that figure 8 infinity sign. As you feel ready to come back to center, please do. Slowly lower the left foot to the floor, followed by the right. And it's just nice to do that for the low back, to do it one leg at a time. Pause with the knees bent here. And once again, just allowing the knees to drop to the right and to the left. So slowly flowing from left to right, very easily. Keep that knee movement occurring. The knees are kind of like windshield wipers, just moving side to side. Keep going, but widen the feet a little bit so that the knees have a little greater distance that they can travel should they want to. So just continuing that. Maybe the knees come down toward the ground more. Take another couple of movements like so. And gently coming back in toward the center, reconnecting the feet to the ground. And from here, the feet are a little bit wider than hip distance. prepare without moving to pick up the right foot and cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So because our intention today is to notice transition, as you start to pick up that right foot, right away tune into what occurs in the transition. So rather than just sort of plopping the foot up here like always, see if you can lift the leg, crossing the ankle over thoughtfully, and starting to move into that hip opening posture. So the right knee is now bent in a different way, and you're welcome to take a peek at your screen here if you're not sure what we're doing from being on our backs. Pause for a moment and let the right knee open so you create a little bit more space between the top of the thigh and the area where the leg inserts into your body. So just finding that little bit of extra space there. And then if you'd like a little bit more, slowly lifting the left leg up, clasping the hands behind the left thigh, and just moving gently side to side. A couple of other options would be to place the left foot just upon something that's a little bit higher, say a cushion or a book or your water bottle, whatever you've got in the room there. And that sometimes adds the perfect amount of opening through the hip. And once we've come to that position, do let yourself move and travel and experiment in that pose. Do see if you can let the shoulders release and relax. Take several more breaths. And checking in with whether or not you're holding your breath. So I say that a little bit in jest. A lot of us are breath holders. It's the way we're trained. In other words, we're trained for performance rather than this oxygenation that is so important to us. So especially as your body comes into a bigger stretch, you might feel like you want to hold your breath and move in it. So just being aware of that tendency and just moving, stretching. So take another couple of breaths. Using the exhalation, letting the exhalation carry away anything that is stirred or anything that is stagnant or sticky in your body that's ready to be released. And then slowly come back to the center. Place the left foot on the ground gently. We're going to keep the right ankle where it is. So it's, above the kneecap and maybe about the middle of the left thigh. And then slowly straighten your left leg. Reach the left leg out. The right knee is then going to become heavy. And just creating that little bit of opening through the right groin. I always pay attention to whether my right ankle has sort of slipped down at all. I don't want that ankle resting on the patella, on the kneecap. So just making sure that you're above the knee, And if that doesn't feel doable for you, you're welcome to just let the foot come down to the ground and relax. The knee continues to stay outward. So just take another few breaths here. Maybe letting the head release side to side. And this is a really great place to bring yourself back to that notion of the inhale coming down from the sky, passing through the clouds, entering the space where you're practicing. And if you can imagine just your body being beneath a shower of the inhalation, take another couple of breaths. And slowly drawing the right knee in just a little bit, unhooking the right ankle from the left thigh, and then straightening the legs and just giving the legs a little bit of a wiggle. You can reposition yourself on the ground in any way that feels right to you. And as you feel like it, bending both knees again, bringing the soles of both feet to the ground, widening the feet just a little bit. Wonderful. And then the left ankle comes up and crosses the right thigh. So take your time here. Spending a breath or two just adjusting to this open space through the left crease of the leg. Maybe using the left hand a little bit against the thigh. And then depending on what your body is calling for, just reaching behind the back of the right thigh if you'd like, or choosing some other variation of this, where maybe the right foot is just elevated upon something a little bit. That gives a little bit of opening through the hip. And just drinking in those big breaths. You have time enough here in this pose to let the shoulders release again. Taking a few more breaths. And this drifting side to side, that organic, easy movement, always so valuable to the body. And as you feel ready, releasing the hands from the back of the right thigh, Slowly, slowly lowering your right foot down to the floor. And then extending the right leg, straightening the right leg all of the way out. The left knee is now open toward the side of the room. Come back to those deep breaths. Come back to that exploration of the transitions. Do double check that the left ankle is not directly on the kneecap. With the leg fixed in this position, see if you can notice any tension, grabbing, or any effort to lift the knee up toward the ceiling. See if you can relax the weight of the leg. Keeping in mind that it's always fine if you want to leave the knee, the whole weight of the leg on the floor rather than having it up and lifted. And slowly, slowly draw the knee in toward the center. The left foot comes to the floor for a moment. Right foot comes to the floor, so bending the knees and just letting the knees drift to the right and left once again. Coming back to the center, bringing both knees toward the midline. Let's find the soles of the feet, connect one to another, and let the knees open toward the sides of the room. So take whatever transition feels good to you here, maybe a little bit of movement through the hips, and also noticing where it feels right to you to leave the feet. So maybe you bring the feet in a little bit closer to the body. Maybe you push them a little farther away from the body. You can decide about that. And we'll just allow the legs to stay in that position, remembering that you can change that position, or you can add support underneath either knee from a block, from a pillow or cushion, what have you. I'd love for you now to reach the arms up toward the ceiling. So extend both arms up, the fingertips are reaching toward the sky, and then cross the hands to the elbows. So from here, hands are holding the elbows. You've made this little bit of a box shape. Just let the arms drift side to side. So the arms are just kind of seesawing across the front of the body. Again, feel free to take a peek at the screen if you need a little help deciphering what that is. Wonderful opening for the back side of the shoulder, the neck. And then as you feel like it, bringing the arms back in, keep holding on to the elbows, and notice that you've created this little bit of space between the forearms and the nose, the forearms and the head. Very gently lay your arms down overhead and breathe. So it might be that you need to let out a little bit of the space for your shoulders. So that means just holding onto the elbows and then sliding the hands toward each other. That's perfectly fine. Come again to the breath. Seeing if you can let the shoulders relax. And once again, just calling that vibrant, healing oxygen into your body. Releasing the shoulders. Just take another couple of breaths here. As you feel like it, slowly lifting the arms, hands continue to hold the elbows, bring the arms back so that the forearms are before the eyes. Re-twist the arms, rewrap the arms so that the opposite forearm is closest to your face. So the way that you'll know that you've done that is if it feels different or odd or not familiar. Start to seesaw the arms back and forth once more. And again, moving the arms down and away from the chin, from the chest if you can. Feeling free to maintain that stretch as you draw the elbow toward the ground, one side and then the other. And then same thing, lay the arms overhead. So we're holding on to the elbows. Unless that's too much for you, it's a very unusual position for the head and for the arms. So maybe it is that you need to release a little bit of the tension in that pose by just sliding the hands toward each other, down the forearms toward the wrists. From here, push the feet away from your body just a little bit. So just experimenting with a little different trajectory of the femur bone. That's that big bone in the upper leg. Just tucking that into the hip socket in a little different way. Take a few more breaths like that. From here, slowly release the arms first, letting go of the wrists, the forearms. And then if you need, using a little bit of support from the hands on the outer legs, draw the knees together and just let yourself move in any way you'd like. before extending both legs out and into final relaxation. Do just let your body relax. Let your body become heavy. Staying in that position. And it could be that it feels great to you to lay the weight of that pillow or that blanket or bolster over the top of your body. From wherever you are, if you have the ability to remain in this final relaxation position for a little bit more time today, I invite you to do that. If you are paying attention to the 1 hour of our practice, very gently begin moving your body. Starting easily with the fingers, maybe the toes. And as you feel ready, making your way over onto one side. Again, watching the way that the body feels in the transition. And slowly, slowly pressing yourself up towards seated. Taking your time. And coming to sit and stay and pause for a moment. There is a saying that I love, and it's been translated and generated many times, but essentially the notion is that in the space between heartbeats, there lies a summons. And I love that notion, that there is always something that is wise and knowing that is revealed to us in these spaces between actions, between poses, between heartbeats. So as you feel ready, bring the hands to the heart, touch the palms together. And just tune into that vibration of your own heartbeat for a moment. And then tuning into what's between. those beats. Thank you so much for your presence in our practice, for your presence in the greater conscious community of our city, our state, our world. I wish you each the very best day. I hope you feel peaceful. I hope you feel loved. And I'll look forward to being with you the next time. Thank you again. Namaste.